Hey, hey, boss. Hey, how are you today? Once again, it's your girl here, LaShonda Henry, aka Sister Sense. Always excited to share things you can do to work on your money, marketing, and sales goals too, with strategy and intention. So, today, what we are going to do is continue our conversation around your 5 figure focus. For the last couple of days, I've been taking you into step zero and essentially kind of giving you a little bit of what I've been giving my mentees as part of the 5 figure focus program. Now, just to backtrack here, 5 figure focus is all about getting clear about how you can intentionally reach your goals when it comes to creating products, processes, and promotions that work for you and your business, especially for those of you who are solopreneurs, infopreneurs, online entrepreneurs like myself. So, I've been sharing with you some things to think about when it comes to your revenue goals, number one. Then we talked about your products, number two. So today we're going to dig into personal goals. So revenue goals, personal goals, product goals, a few things that I want you to think about. Okay. So I'm actually going to pop up onto the screen so I can show you some of what we talked about in step zero inside of the tongue tied inside of the Focus Forward program. And hopefully, this kind of can help you get some clarity. Now, as we are jumping on here, feel free to say, hey, 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 let me know who you are and where you are in this beautiful world today. And of course, you can always share this out and tag some of your business besties who'd like to learn about things they can do to work on their online business. So, this slide that you're seeing right here from step zero of the 5 figure focus program is all about POP, which for me stands for plans on paper. So, when it comes to your personal goals as an online entrepreneur, what I want you to be able to do today is to dig in with me or privately, thinking about your products, your problems, and your perspective. So I say that to say this. One of the things that I love to teach when it comes to sharing my online business building strategies with clients is before you can take in or integrate or even try some of the things that I want you to do, what I want you to do is to get real with you. Right. I'm not one of those people who will say, okay, well, scrap everything that you've done, delete all of that. Let's dig in. Let's try this. Don't do any of that ever again. I'm always like, I need you to build on what you've already built, right? So, what I want to do is just kind of walk you through a few questions you should be asking yourself if you're looking to start and grow, if you're looking to really seriously work towards building your best business and working on reaching those revenue goals that you've put out for yourself, right? But again, not only just the revenue goals, but the products goals too, like thinking about what it is that you're trying to produce, who you're trying to serve. So here are a couple of questions that I asked my mentees last Sunday that I'm going to ask you today. And before we dig in, just a friendly reminder, the 5 figure focus program is an opportunity for us to work together for at minimum 5 to 12 weeks. We're kicking off week number one this coming Sunday and every Sunday after that. And you can learn more over at sense.com/5FIVE. So for me, the first thing that I want you to think about when it comes to products, problems, perspective, putting your plans on paper is what would you like to accomplish? I have a lot of people who come to me and they're LaShonda, like LaShonda, I want to start a business. I want to, take the business that I've already established and make it bigger, make it better. Where do I start? And I'm like, well, let's start off with you telling me a little bit more about what it is that you're trying to accomplish, what it is that you do, right? So when you think about the type of business you would ideally like to produce, and maybe you're like, well, I don't know, right? I don't know what kind of business I need to produce. So maybe you need some ideas, and I get that. But if you've got some sense of the direction you want to go in, are there certain things that you're trying to accomplish? So literally today, before I got on this live with you, I had one of my clients, one of my mentees. She's in one of my programs, the content creation program, a little bit different from Focus, the 5-figure focus, but still pretty awesome. So she said to me, you know what, LaShonda, I thought I needed to do all this stuff to produce a book, and I was just making it way too hard for myself. I'm super excited. Thank you so much, because she's working on some of her content as part of the challenge. And that's something that I've heard a lot of people say recently to me. I don't know, maybe because I'm always like, KISS, keep it seriously simple. But in quite a few of my trainings, I've heard people say, man, you just break it down in a way that I've never seen it broken down before. I'm making this thing way too hard for myself. So, even though that's not a question here, out of curiosity, I would love to know, whether you're watching live or via the replay, when it comes to working on your business, when it comes to putting together content, when it comes to moving forward, do you feel like you're overcomplicating the process to the point where you're not getting anything done? And out of curiosity, feel free to dig in and think about that. And of course, I'm here for you if you want to check in with me. Hey, Levon from Philly. Welcome, welcome. So, what would you like to accomplish? Number one. Number two, what are you trying to figure out? Okay. So there are a lot of people who they're like, I'm stuck. I need to get this thing done. It's not working. This is taking me forever. And to me, the best place to start is with the specifics of what's not working and how we can move forward. So let me talk about that just from a really a genuine perspective of a few weeks ago, one of my clients, because I do my clarity calls on Wednesdays. So one of my clients, she said to me, LaShonda, there are a couple of things that I'm trying to accomplish. And I realized that I struggle with procrastination. It's taking me so long and I'm not quite where I would like to be. Anybody feel like that? So I said, okay, well, what needs to get done? Specifically, like what needs to get done? She said, well, I need to create a couple of things here. I need to do this here, that there. And I was like, okay, well, let's start. Let's start. We did some work together while we were on our VIP in that experience together. And then after the fact, she had a follow-up accountability call with me. And so she was like, oh my gosh, I got all of these things done. And I sent some of these things out to customers and they were very happy because of course they paid for it and I finally sent it. So yay. And I said, you know what, let's go back to, I said, I love that, first of all. But I want to go back to the fear, because that was a big thing for you. You were afraid, you were struggling with procrastination. Where are you now with that? And she said to me, I'm going to be honest with you, rather than you spend a whole bunch of time fixating on my fear or us talking about the procrastination, you said, let's get specific. Where's the delay? What needs to get done? Let's do that. And she said, just the act of getting things done really helped me break the procrastination. And I thank you for that. And I'm excited about continuing that process. And so I shared that story with you because one of the things that I wanted to inspire you to do is, if you feel overwhelmed, if you feel like there's a lot that you're trying to get done and you want to accomplish some things, I want you to get specific about what you're trying to accomplish. Name those things, number one. And number two, if you're finding yourself overwhelmed and you don't know quite how this thing should work, well, what exactly are you trying to get to work? What are you trying to figure out right now to help you move forward? So I'm actually working with a few clients in the Kajabi platform for setting up online courses. One of them is a doctor. So we've got this huge project putting a lot of the information and the stuff that he's accrued over the years into online courses in the Kajabi platform. And then another client, she's building this amazing experience for career professionals going into their next phase of life. So we're working on that together. And I say that to say this. When I think about them, they came to me and said, look, different people, right? One's a doctor creating content for doctors. One's a career professional, now retired, creating experience for retirees. But they both said the same thing. I want to be able to put my information in a way that people can consume it, they can sign up, they can get these courses and trainings from me, right? I want to use this platform. I want to use Kajabi. I just don't know where to go with that. So I said, okay, we're going to do it together. I'm going to help you. You'll give me the content. I'll do the technical parts. I'll make it pretty. So one of the things that you've got to be able to do is to figure out where you're stuck, where you're confused, where you want to do something, but you find something is missing for you. Okay, so question number two. And now let me say this, as part of the Five Figure Focus program, one of the things I'm super excited about is being able to work with my mentees every week for the next 5 to 12 weeks, number one, and then also share all of these really reflective hands-on activities that we can do to help them power through and move forward. So this is one of the things we talked about as part of step 0, which was last Sunday, so that we can officially start the program this coming Sunday, moving forward for the next couple of weeks. So number one, if you are looking to gain some clarity and also move forward, see progress when it comes to putting together some products, to me, some essential products for your business, and getting better at understanding what it takes to promote and work on some processes for your online business. Those are the things that we're going to talk about inside of the Five Figure Focus program. Again, over at sissasense.com/5 FIVE. So you can learn more about it if you go over there. But to be clear, this right here, these are some of the questions that I asked my mentees when we started last week so that they can get some perspective. Because again, every week I'm going to be sharing different projects to help you produce products, to help you put together processes and work on your promotion. But before I even do any of that, I wanted to make sure that they had some perspective on where they are. Like, some people are like, look, I did ... and I don't want to do that anymore. And I need you to get perspective on that, because sometimes we are tired of doing certain things. And it's not that we don't love those things and we're not good at it, but the passion became a pain. Anybody feel like that? There's some things that you're gifted at, but people tell you you could do this as a business and people still want to pay you for it, but you've been so jaded by everything that you've gone through, you don't want to do that anymore. And I was actually talking to a client about that yesterday. I said, for some of these things, before we even talk about new products and new processes and new ways to promote, we got to get some perspective on what you've done before, what you've got to figure out, what you want to accomplish moving forward. Right. So hopefully this is like a one to many conversation, whether you're watching live or via the replay, to help you get some perspective on if you're trying to hit certain goals, personal goals, product goals, revenue goals. A part of this is before you even reach out to myself or anybody else to get clarity, get coaching, get guidance, you reach internally to ask yourself some of these questions to see what comes out of that personal conversation. So we've gone through a few of these questions right here. Let's move forward with the next one that is where. So it says, where are you now in the process? Okay. Where are you in the process of building your online business? And I've over the years worked with different people in different stages, right? Are you in a place where you feel like you are trying to start up? So like totally from scratch startup, right? Are you in a place where you're looking for a fresh start? Maybe you're just like, okay, I want to scrap things and just kind of clean slate, fresh start the process. Or maybe you want to do a restart, where you're not necessarily wanting to, start from scratch and do things over, but maybe you stopped doing things for a couple of months or even a couple of years and you want to go back to it, reboot it, restart it. Or maybe you're looking to jumpstart. So you're already established, you're doing things, but you want to put some jump into it. You want to put some kick into it so you can take it up a notch, take things to the next level. So where are you in the process right now? That affects how you do things, right? Because either you're kind of like wet behind the ears and you don't know how this process should go in any way, shape, or form, or you got a little bit of experience, or you kind of have to get back into the swing of things, right? So where are you? Startup, fresh start, restart, jumpstart. Where are you in the process right now? Because again, that does affect your energy, your direction, and where you need to be, what you need to know to move forward, right? And that's something important as well. So it's funny because while I was going through Five Figure Focus, the first session we did last Sunday, one of the ladies, I said, okay, well, what are some of those products that you want to work on? What are some of those problems that you want to not thinking about problems that you need to fix for yourself, but also thinking about problems that you want to solve for other people, right? As an entrepreneur. And one of the ladies in the circle said, I'm doing whatever you tell me to do. And I was like, I appreciate you for wanting to follow my direction, but I really don't want you to completely discredit or to disregard all that you know and all that you've done, right? So if you're coming from this from the perspective of a jump start or a restart, you've got some experience that we want to build on that, right? And we don't want to take that for granted. So really dig into where you are in the process. What has WWW, as I always say, work what works, right? What has worked for you before? Because some of those things you should be integrating into what you do moving forward. We're all different. How we speak, different. Who we're trying to reach, slightly different, right? We may try to reach the same person, but in a slightly different way. And I say that to say what works for you and for your, even though we can learn from each other, there's certain nuances to what works for you, just works for you because you are your only you. And that is your superpower, right? We can only follow other people's strategies to a certain extent. We get to a point where it's just us, how we look, how we present, how we commit, how we teach, how we share, right? That makes our businesses unique, right? So Levon says jumpstart. Okay, good. So really identifying where you are in that process is important. And I do apologize because I realize that on some platforms I'm not able to see your comments, but still comment because I can check them out after the fact when I go through the different platforms here. I do see a comment. Hey, thanks for the valuable information. Hey, Tony, welcome, welcome. Thank you so much for popping on. So being in a place where you start to reflect on where you are in the process, very, very important. And also thinking about where you feel stuck or stagnant. So sometimes we get, and I mentioned this last weekend, sometimes we get comfortable with discomfort. And you may go, I don't know what that means, but you do. If you find yourself in a place where you don't like where you are, but you haven't done anything to proactively change it, you're comfortable with your discomfort. Just real talk. And at some point, we get into a sweet spot, and we don't want to move forward, right? But there are times when it's not a sweet spot. Sometimes we in a salty spot. It's salty. It ain't comfortable. But again, still, other than maybe begrudging it, complaining it, wishing things would change, we don't quite work towards changing it. So you've got to identify those places for yourself where you feel stagnant, right? Where you feel stuck, so that you can, if you do want to fix it, you can be able to say, okay, well, this is where there's no growth. This is where there's a problem that needs to be tended to, right? Because doing the same thing just ain't gonna work. Right? One of my favorite quotes, nothing changes if nothing changes, right? Real talk. So understanding where you feel stuck and stagnant right now, and where do you want to be? Where do you want to be at the end of the year? Because to be clear, we're almost halfway there at this point. Whether you like or you don't like what has been happening this year, this is where we are. We're almost at the midway mark. So if you want to be in a certain place at the end of the year, specifically, what does that look like? Remember, I said that a few minutes ago, you got to get clear, you got to get specific, because at the end of the day, nothing changes but the day unless you're clear about what you want to see change. What you wanted to see change. I talked about one of the first goals you need to set, your revenue goals. And I mentioned this to my mentees and I said, look, this is my personal, not so secret, okay? I hit revenue goals when I'm very clear, and I'm always clear. So let me be clear. I am always clear. I hit my revenue goals when I'm very clear about how much I want to see come in. And I'm working towards that on a daily basis. And if you say I'm not hitting my revenue goals, I always ask you the same question. How committed are you to that consistency? Being able to say that I know that I want to bring in X amount every year, every quarter, every month, and consistently work towards that. Are you doing just enough, but still not enough? Are you not comfortable, but somehow you're comfortable with the discomfort, that you're not moving enough out of the, oh yeah, I know I need to do that and that and that, but I still haven't done it yet? Because to be clear, sometimes you're confused not because you're confused, but because you won't do the things that you know you need to do. One of my favorite quotes: you're confused not because you don't know what to do, but you won't do what you know. The things you know you need to grow, you keep dismissing them, you keep putting it off, you keep thinking that maybe you'll find the time, or maybe you'll find another solution that doesn't mean that you have to do the things that you don't want to do because you know you have to do those things. Where do you want to be? Look at your future self at the end of the year. Look at her or him very clearly, see them in your sight, and project onto them. Work towards becoming them. That requires your actions for right now. So, one of my clients said, look, I need to be in a certain place within the next 8 months. Real talk, is that realistic? I said, anything is realistic, but let's break down what has to happen, right? If you don't work towards realistically, number one, creating at least 2 to 3 essential products, testing those products, building up a customer base to the point where you can say, I'm making at least 4 figures consistently a month to transition and get here by 8 months, baby, it ain't gonna happen, right? It's not just about, oh, I would like to see it happen, or well, okay, let me just map out the plan. The plan POP needs to be put on paper, but baby, then you're gonna have to put that out into the universe and work it to make it work for you. So, to be clear today, I just wanted to take you through a little piece of what I shared as part of step 0 in the 5-figure focus program. It's 12 weeks or 5 weeks if you choose to just do 5 or do 12. But to kick off, I wanted to prepare and share some good with the mentees that I have as part of 5-figure focus. And then, of course, because I'm doing these daily web classes with you, I wanted to give you the opportunity to glean, learn, and lean into some of the suggestions and strategies that I shared. So again, over the last few days, I talked about working on your revenue goals, your product goals, and today specifically asking yourself some questions around the problems, products, and perspective that you currently have to gain some clarity around specifically where you are, what you're trying to figure out, and where you want to be by the end of the year. Because if you can start to create that kind of specific for yourself, right, then you can work towards the specifics of the steps that you're going to take to move in that direction. Okay. And of course, at the end of the day, your voice is the one that matters most, not me, not anybody else. You getting clear with you, where you are, where you want to be, what you want to do. And some of you feeling a little bit indecisive and you want other people to tell you everything to do. That's not how it works. You have to be the master and the commander of this ship, right? And all we can do is serve you, complement, help to fill in the gaps where you need those gaps to be filled, where you need those holes to be plugged. But for the most part, you are the master and commander of your ship. I want you to own it. I want you to claim it. And I want you to sit down and gain some personal clarity with you before you ask anybody to provide you with direction. Okay, so that is it, my dearest, for today. I'm super excited for the official launch of the 5-figure focus program. Again, you can learn more about it over at successcentral.com/5. This is going to be our opportunity to once again work on building your first or your next best products, understanding some of the processes that I use to work on hitting them 5-figure goals. And again, to be clear, everybody here is trying to hit a 5-figure goal. If you're trying to hit it where you're getting realistically a certain amount every year, every quarter, every month, or even every day, okay? At the end of the day, you got to be clear about your goals so that you can actually implement the things you need to do to work towards them. And in doing that, create the kind of business, a life, and honestly, create the kind of offers you want to see in the world. Because I know a lot of, for me, being an entrepreneur, is looking at where the problems are, looking at where the lack is, and creating a space to serve people in the ways I felt like, I'm not seeing other people do it, so I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna put it out there and see what happens. So I encourage you to do that. And I'm excited to see what you guys come up with in the process. Hey, Denise. Hey, Denise. Hey, I'll do the replays. Awesome. Awesome. Denise is one of the lovely ladies inside of the Five Figure Focus program. So thank you for joining me here. Yes, definitely catch me on the replay side because I'm just about to wrap up for today. All righty, my dears. Till tomorrow. Take care. Mwah.